Well, I guess at this point, I'm fully committed to this car. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about and why this car currently has no rear bumper, well, that's because I'm actually wrapping the whole car myself. This right here is my Vauxhall Corsa. A really good example, in fact. Unmolested, 78,000 miles on the clock, never modified, and really looked after. Well, that's until I got my hands on it.
Do you know when I first met you, I never thought this would end up happening?
And just like that, in typical fashion of this channel, we got a car and made it even worse. We chucked a performance air filter on there, which all that achieved was just the amount of times that I have to go to the petrol station. We even took the rear wiper off so I can't see out the back window. Then we decided to put some eyelids on it. I decided then to drop the suspension to make it absolutely awful to drive. Yes! But to be fair, it did actually make it look pretty sick. We then broke it. We have an oil pressure light. What? Fixed it, and the oil light has gone off. And that leaves us where we are now, with a fully stripped car because some idiot had the idea of wrapping it. Even though they had no experience wrapping any vehicle before, he decided to announce to his whole platform that he wanted to wrap the car. Well, that person's me, and now there's no turning back. The car is pretty much in bits. All the indicators have been taken off, all the side kind of trims have been taken off, the front bumper's off, the rear bumper's off, all the side skirts are off, and even, well, the lights are pretty much off. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, have you wrapped a car before? Have you done this before? Have you even tinted a window before? No, I haven't. And that is the exact reason I thought we'd give it a go for the YouTube content and have some fun trying to wrap this vehicle. Now, first things first, I think we should get the spoiler all attached so we don't have to worry about the roof anymore. And in last video, I asked you guys whether you think I should keep it black or wrap it green. And that decision was definitely one-sided. And I don't think there was a single comment of you guys telling me to make this spoiler green. So I guess this is staying black. Now this has obviously gone a horrible shade of grey, which won't obviously fit in with anything on the car once we're done. The side kind of panels that look the same as this colour, they're going to end up getting painted either black, or we're going to try and restore them and get them back to the kind of factory colour that they used to be. So I think we should start this video with getting this back up to scratch, making sure that this matches the roof the best we can, and then this that I ordered off eBay, which is the spoiler, trying to get this, well, maybe sprayed. We'll figure it out. Now I know what you're thinking, the next clip isn't me taking it to the body shop. No, it's me on my hands and knees on the driveway with a rattle can spraying the out of this spoiler. What did you actually expect? It actually looks 10 times better than it did. Is it perfect? No. Is this car perfect? No. It's a cheap car that we're just having a good go with. It looks a lot better, so that is a good job, well done in my opinion. I'll probably give that one more coat, and if the spoiler ends up coming out the same, then all we've got to do is tiger seal the spoiler to this shroud, I guess you'd call it, and then that is kind of that part of the car done. And while the spoiler's drying, I thought I'd jump onto the bumper and see how much I could get stripped off. The more the better. I've never wrapped a car, so the more I can take off it makes my job a lot easier. Okay, that is the bumper stripped as much as I can actually do it. Apart from taking the number plate off, I don't think none of these kind of plastic surround parts are actually going to come off. A lot of them are pretty much moulded to the to the bumper. If you can see that there, it's almost like moulded to the bumper. I don't think they're going to be able to come off without actually breaking them, so I think that is as stripped as we can get it. The fog lights slash kind of reflectors are out. We are going to be tinting them, but not too much, because having reflectors is obviously very important for if you're parking on a dark road or whatever, so we are going to be keeping them. Well, I guess I'll eat my words. On further inspection, I can actually get more stripped off this rear bumper. Yes! Come on, yes! That makes my life so much easier. I did not actually realise they came out. I thought it was part of like the whole kind of moulding. As you can see here, like they all just kind of interjoin, but I didn't realise you can just pull these clips back and they come out, so we can either wrap them or spray them pretty well in gloss black. Yes, let me get the other one out. With these coming out, that is a proper proper lifesaver, especially for someone that's never wrapped a car in their life. It just lets me be able to now wrap this part of the bumper and just be able to get a nice fine cut and maybe a little bit of a tuck behind where these, I don't know, trims go, I guess. But that is now officially the rear bumper fully stripped. All we've got to do now is prep it for wrap and we can actually start wrapping things. Now onto the rear spoiler, and all I've done for this is just sand it down a little bit, spray it with some brake cleaner just to get it as clean as possible, and then we're just going to go straight at it with some gloss black spray out of a rattle can. And to be fair, it does actually look alright. And while that's drying, we can go ahead and actually start installing the other half of the spoiler, which has turned out really good in fact. It was that horrible kind of grey colour, and now it is a nice satin kind of glossy black finish, which I think will look amazing on the car. Let's get it on. And again, we're not aiming for perfection with this car, we're just aiming for it to be better than it was. So giving it a quick clean with the hydro detailer and putting the 4 bolts back in, that is the OEM spoiler back on, looking a lot better. Now I've been having to think, and somehow we've got to figure out a way of attaching this spoiler to the OEM spoiler. And although this might not be the perfect shade of black, it looks a lot better than the grey that it used to be. The only way I can think of attaching this is, of course, with some good old Tiger Seal. Hopefully this will be enough to bond the spoiler to the OEM spoiler and we won't have to worry about it coming off. This car isn't really a motorway car, so it won't have too much pressure on it, so let's just hope that this Tiger Seal does the job. Now I did give it a go with the Tiger Seal, but in the end I just couldn't get it to stay down. The spoiler wasn't perfect, being an eBay spoiler, and I just couldn't get it to sit flush. So I ended up drilling a couple of holes and putting some bolts in just to keep it stable, but I'm not going to show that on camera, we'll leave that to the imagination. Well, it's not perfect, but it is on, and it does look better than the OEM one that doesn't have the extension. That is the last thing that we've needed to do to the car until we can start actually preparing it for the wrap. I've got a clay bar, I've got a load of products to use to get this car ready for wrap, and hopefully in this video we can lay the first panel. But if not, I'm hoping next video we'll have the entire car wrapped. I know I've set myself a challenge. I don't know how I'm going to get on, but I guess we'll find out. Now there are a few things that I need before we actually start wrapping this car. And that is a heat gun. Well, I guess here goes nothing. Let's start wrapping this thing. Now I guess the first thing to do is give it a proper wash. And what we're going to be using to wash it is the Hydro products. If you haven't already heard of Hydro, they're a huge sponsor of the channel, and they're the products that we're going to be using to wash and decontaminate the Corsa. Let's get cracking. First things first, let's get everything prepared. I'm just pouring the pre-wash and the snow foam with a 1:4 mixture, ready to decontaminate the car. And now all you've got to do is put the cap on, give it a few pumps, and you can pre-wash the whole car. And now while we wait for the pre-wash to do its magic, I'm going to go ahead and fill the bucket up ready for when we do the contact wash. But the pre-wash is an amazing way to get and loosen up all that horrible dirt just before you start pressure washing and snow foaming. It just adds that extra bit of layer to getting the dirt off the car. All this dirt and grime that's probably been sat in these channels for years will obviously become all agitated and end up just being able to get blown off the car with the pressure washer. I don't think this Corsa has ever had a clean like this in its life, but if we do this stage well, we should get a good result when we're wrapping it. Well, at least I hope. Now I'm going to pressure wash all that pre-wash off the car, just so there is minimal dirt on the car before we snow foam and then go on to contact the car. Now I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm actually wrapping this car, I'd be pretty content with how it looks. All I've done is used the Hydro pre-wash and just pressure washed it off, and it is literally like glass. But we've got to go that extra step further for the wrap to make sure that we get a good result. And I guess all that's left for me to say is, if you want to check out and buy any of the Hydro products, make sure you use the code Jesse30 to get yourself 30% off. The biggest discount I've ever provided with Hydro. 30% off. You can do exactly what I'm doing here, and the results speak for themselves. Let's carry on. Next step is the snow foam. Now, if there's one thing I've been told, that is wrapping is all in the prep work. I don't believe that, because I definitely believe that there's a lot more to it than just being able to detail a car good. But I guess going the extra steps like this is definitely going to help someone like me that's never done it before. Just going to get in all the windows. As you can see, look at how dirty it is under there. Because if I don't do this and I lay the wrap and it starts peeling in, for example, this corner, that means that whole panel going all the way from here and here all the way to the back of the car is going to need redoing. So if I do this now, it may in fact save me a lot of time in the future. It's boring, but it'd be more annoying having to wrap another panel at the same time. And of course, I didn't forget the bumpers that we took off the car and everything else that we stripped to give them a proper detail, pressure wash and snow foam before they get wrapped as well. Next step, it's onto the hand wash, and I know I should have 2 buckets on the go here, but with this being a Corsa and not a Bugatti Veyron, I think it should be okay. We did have a grit guard anyway. And that is one clean Corsa. Well, at least as clean as it possibly can be. It's actually come up really well. You can see on camera that it's looking actually quite shiny. The next steps are starting with the clay barring of the car, just to get it as clean as we possibly can, and then we're going to start wrapping it. It's not going to be long now. I'm actually getting quite excited for it. It should be fun. So I guess we'll come out again Saturday because we're busy tomorrow, and we'll carry on with the clay barring. Okay, nearly all the prep work is complete, but I think what's best to do is clay bar each panel at a time. So say I'm doing this wing, we'll start by clay barring that wing, then wrap it, then clay bar the bonnet, then wrap the bonnet, and do it in stages. Instead of clay barring the whole car, we'll just clay bar each panel at a time. So I'm going to start by clay barring this panel, and then we've got the wrap here ready to go on the car now. Also, just bear with the lighting for now. I am getting another gazebo to come, like, extend to out here, and I'm getting LEDs put in the gazebos, so there will be good lighting. Just bear with it for now, but I guess we should start by getting this panel clay barred and see if we can actually get some wrap on the car. This is it. The big moment has arrived. This is the last step until I actually start laying the vinyl, and I'm actually getting quite excited now. Here goes nothing. It's clay barred. It's as clean as I can possibly get it. I think it's just time to start wrapping it. I'm going to tuck that in there in hopes that I can get it back out. Let's just give it a go. This is it. This is the big moment. I've never wrapped a vehicle before in my life, and this is the first ever time I'm laying vinyl on a car. Now, I just want to give a massive thank you to Ravuni for actually supplying the vinyl for this job, and also Rock Awnings for supplying the gazebo that I'm currently working under. Without them, I'd be out in the cold, out in the wet, and this just wouldn't be possible. And of course, without Ravuni, I would not have no vinyl to lay on the car for you guys to watch me mess up. So I guess from now we just see how we get on. With a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and a lot of patience, I think we could actually make this car look quite good. Well, at least that's what I hope. And I can't believe it, it's actually going a lot better than I thought. I guess this just is a technique that you have to learn as you go, and working with the vinyl really does help. Well, I think for my first panel, that actually hasn't gone too bad. It's a bit tricky learning which ways to stretch the wrap and when to heat it and when not to heat it, but I've tried my best to not get any creases in that panel, and I think it's actually gone okay. I'm going to start trimming it down now and see if I can get it a little bit more to shape, and hopefully trim it down and it looks okay. The only part I'm struggling with is just tucking it in the wheel arch bit here, because obviously there's now quite a lot of stretch in the vinyl, so it's just knowing when to heat it, stretch it and pull it in different directions, but not pull it away from the car. But I'm pretty impressed with that for my first attempt. I'll take that. Now, I know I've probably chosen the easiest panel to do first, but that's because I wanted to get a feel for wrapping and get a feel for how the vinyl works. And I really think from how I started to how it is now, I've actually learned quite a lot just by doing this one single wing. And just like that, I've trimmed the hole for the indicator, put it back in, I've done a lot of trimming, and I guess it's time to show you how this panel has ended up. I'm really pleased with how that has worked out. Bearing in mind, it isn't that tidy under here, but that doesn't really matter because that's where these, which we need to get done in black, that's where these would kind of, that's where the trims kind of sit in. Obviously, where everything is seen like behind here, I am going to do my best to try and tidy that all up. And I'm going to try and make this look the best it can. So if someone did come up to it with a fine toothpick, you could probably get away with saying it's being done professionally. That's my aim. Whether it's going to happen, I'm not sure. The only bits I'm kind of struggling on, which didn't go too bad in this corner, is just the corners. This one, I kind of had to heat it and stretch it. I'll try and see what else I can do on this corner. This one's not too bad, but that's the only part I'm kind of struggling with, is just the corners. Apart from that, it's going pretty well. The indicator is back in, that fits perfect. I should have bought some black ones, I didn't get around to doing it. But obviously when the side skirts go on just here, a lot of kind of the imperfections should be covered up. But I guess next video we're going to try and get this all done in one video. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I want to get it all done in one video for you guys to watch. We've got the bonnet, we've got the rest of the whole car to do, so I don't know how well it's going to go. But if you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh God, goodbye.